The following program contains views that are not those of WVTC, iNetworks Communications, their subsidiaries, affiliates, or financial supporters.
All right. I am Edward Jones IV. This is
Latanya Jones.
and we are the Family First podcast, where we talk about marriage, relationships, children, and sometimes
Nothing at all.
nothing at all. I know it seems like it's been forever since you've seen us, but we have both had our bouts with being under the weather.
Yes.
And we are so happy to be back. We back.
We back.
With some fire, with some Family First fire. And this is Mother's Day week. You don't seem too enthused.
I am.
You enthused?
Yes, very.
Very enthused. This is Mother's Day week, and so we decided today we was going to talk about mothers and all the stuff that comes with being a mother, things that mothers wish that us fathers and other people knew, and all of the other good stuff like that, and the challenges, the struggles, the joys, all the good stuff that comes with being a mother. And maybe I might chime in a little bit to tell the mother something that they might need to know that they might not understand in y'all being mothers. So yeah, so Mama, you're a mother 5 times over. You didn't want to stop at one?
That's not. Lots of joys. I think definitely, especially with our group, it's never a dull moment. They provide a lot of entertainment, comedy. They are hilarious. Even at the small age, they were a lot of fun. And it was just fun watching them grow. It's been fun watching them grow up, watching them develop into, who they are now. Yeah, a lot of joys, a lot of stress. I know we're not there yet, but definitely it's you don't know what you're going to expect from day to day, what you're going to encounter, because especially with our group, they all have these various different personalities. And you got Joshua, John, the quiet twins, they don't say much unless they hungry. You got Jasmine, the social butterfly. She's real busy. She's also like my cheerleader and everything. So she was a lot of fun. So then when you get them together, that was hilarious. And then you add Jackie and Jocelyn to the group, and now you get this real funny dynamic, watching them too. So definitely it was such a blessing. And I was reflecting on a little bit of that this afternoon, realizing that the girls are going to be 13 in December. So they're going to be in their teenage years. And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, okay, Lord have mercy, I gotta go back through this again, through teenagers again. But wow, I mean, it's been such a joy to see them go from babies to being 12 now, and where they are, and they're going, you know, growing into their own little selves and their identities and who they are. So yeah, lots of joy. It, you know, when you think about it, um it's a blessing to be a mom.
Yeah.
It's a blessing to know that you have the responsibility of pouring into a little human being, a little person. You know, I count it a blessing. I know of women who have a desire to be moms and they can't. And so you know, I've always, thank God, you know, even though there are times when it's like, Lord have mercy, what am I gonna do with these children that you didn't gave me? But to know that, you know, God saw fit to allow me to have them, and they're healthy.
Yeah.
Each and every one of them, they're healthy. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
So it's a joy.
It's good. And good to see you, Sister Duckworth. Sister Duckworth, we are praying for you and your family. I just got the news. So we are praying for your family. The uh, the crazy part is, and let me say this too. While we are celebrating Mother's Day this coming week, we understand that Mother's Day isn't great for everybody.
Right.
We understand that people are mourning the loss of their mothers. Things just aren't the same since their mom is gone. We also understand that there are mothers who have lost their children. And so, in this Mother's Day, that they are going through situations. And like you mentioned, that there are women who desire to be mothers and they're not, and they see everything else. And, you know, there are women that have had miscarriages and things of that nature. So we are not blind to that fact. And we want to encourage you all that are going through those feelings of Mother's Day, that we understand. No, I'm not going to say we understand. That's because I don't understand how you are feeling, but we empathize with you and pray that the Lord gives you strength through this time and this season.
Absolutely.
And so bless you, Brother Williams. Treese, we back. So let's talk about some of the joys. Tell me what was going through your mind. We've kind of talked about it a little bit, but the first time you realized you were going to be a mama, when you that process of being pregnant with Jasmine, and that being the new mom, and working through those issues and things of that nature, just to maybe give some encouragement. We might have some new moms that are watching right now and talking about, what am I going to do with this thing? This is not like a Barbie or a Ken doll. What talk about some of your experiences and what you learned in those early years.
It was scary. I'm not gonna even lie. I was scared. I was excited, but I was scared because it's like, okay, Lord, I don't know what I'm doing in this situation. You know, I don't know. Like, you know, you want to be, I've always, you know, watching TV like the Cosby Show and, you know, the Brady Bunch and all those different shows. And it's like, you think you know what to do, you know, as a mom, or how to be as a mom. But then that reality sets in once that baby is there, and you realize, okay, we connected for life. Like this is this is real. This is not a TV show. this is real. It's a scary thing.
Mhm.
It really is a scary thing. You know, you don't want to make a mistake. You want to do everything right. You don't want there to be you know, any particular issues or anything like that. It's tough, it's hard. But I think one of the things that I just realized grow in that area of patience.
That's just like Sister Duckworth just said. The kids don't come with instructions. You don't have no instruction manual with them. But the funny thing is the funny thing is that how you were with Jasmine, the very first one, versus the last two with the girls, and how the things that was scary at the beginning.
Oh, she was like my porcelain doll.
And with the last two, that'd be all right.
Jasmine was like my porcelain doll. She was like, I felt like I needed to cradle her. I everything just, you know, I had to really be careful with everything that I did with her. I was so scared and I was so nervous. I didn't want to make a mistake. Is she okay? Is she sleeping right? You know, I read everything that I could find. I watched every TV show on Lifetime about having the babies and all of that because I wanted to be prepared. And I tell you, you realize that none of that really matters, because each child too is different. Each baby is different. So what Jasmine needed was so different than what the boys needed, because even with having Jasmine, you know, again, I'm like, okay, after a certain time, I was like, I got this. I got this figured out. And then when the boys came, it was like, wait a minute, I'm not, this is totally different. You know, what they're experiencing and what they're doing is way different than, you know, how Jasmine was. And so it was like learning all over again. And again, I'm thankful for it, but I tell you, it's such a journey. Such a journey.
So tell me, um what what piece of advice um would you give a a struggling mother right now? Maybe has a newborn, or maybe in their a toddler, and they're just so frustrated they don't know what to do. It just feels like they might be losing themselves and their child or whatnot, or they don't know what's going on. But what advice would you give to, let's say, a mother of a child younger than 5 years old?
Mm. Well, for any new mom, I think one of the things that I would definitely say is that it's okay. Don't be so hard on yourself. Show yourself grace. You are not going to get everything right, and that is okay. um, just like Sister Duckworth said, there is no instruction manual. We don't get that when we have our children. And so, yeah, you're not going to get everything right. That's okay. Um, as parents, God is not asking for us to be perfect.
Well, you preaching now.
He's not. But one of the things that I definitely have learned just during my parenting journey is, again, that relationship that you have with God is so important, just like the relationship that you have with God when you're married. You go to God and you ask for wisdom. Lord, I don't know what to do with this kid. Can you give me wisdom? can you show me? And those have been my prayers. Show me how to parent Jasmine the way that she needs to be parented. Show me how to parent Joshua and John in the way that they need to be parented, because it's different. And so going to God and asking God for wisdom, and this is a daily thing. So you're not going to have it all together in the beginning,
Right.
because again, this is a journey. And so you have to be patient with yourself. You have to show yourself grace. You have to, sometimes it's okay not, if you don't have it together, you're not on today. It's okay not to be on. And I think that's why my children and I, we have such a great relationship now. Because if I'm just not having a good day, I don't know, mommy's not having a good day today. And so I let them know that, and I say it's okay. I'm just not having a good day, but it's gonna get better. And so what they learn from me is that mama's not smiling all the time and she's not happy all the time. That it's okay to have a moment, but then it's how you deal with it and it's how you cope. So there's a healthy way. If I had a rough moment or stress, this is a healthy way to deal with it. And so kids learn, because they're sponges. They pick up so much just by how they watch you and look at you, what you do. And so for those new moms out there, it's okay. Because you can read all the books nowadays. In this time, in this season of life, there's YouTube and there's TikToks, and
mama on YouTube.
so they have all these videos on YouTubes and TikToks, and about how to be a good parent and things like that. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. Don't listen to that, because I was looking at something today, and I tell you, people just make up stuff. You wonder where they come up with some of this stuff. People just make up stuff. They do. A lot of it doesn't make any sense. If you are a Christian, because I am, everything I do has to be rooted in the word. If it's not, it's not going to work. So those are things that you have to think of and take into account as you're raising your children. Because what kind of children do you want to raise? Those are things that you have to think about. But definitely to new parents, be patient, show yourself grace. It's okay. It's okay if you don't have all the answers either.
That's good.
And I think a big thing for parents, especially new parents, develop your own support system. That is key. You cannot raise children by yourself in a silo. It doesn't happen.
Okay.
It doesn't happen. There's no way in the world that we could have raised our children without our family, our, mom and, folks being around, dad when he was here, like there's no way that we could have. We needed all of them. They were our tribe.
Yeah, that's good.
And so you have to develop and have your tribe to assist you and support you with taking care of your children. And it's important as well that your children are like my children. Everybody know my children are everything to me. They're everything, but they're not the end all be all. They're not my whole life.
Right.
Why? Because they grow up and they leave.
Oh yeah, they're gonna leave. Oh yes. Yes, they're gonna leave.
They grow up and they leave you. And we've kind of talked about this a little bit, but that's a season that I have been in, is children transitioning to life. And that was hard.
Yeah.
That was hard. So something to think about, moms.
Yeah. Sister Rogers, good to see that you're on. Bless you, Cheryl. You're right that it's good to have other Christian parents to share your experiences with, and that's good. Uh, let me ask you, since we are talking about moms on this week, um, as a mother, what is something that you wish us dads knew, or really paid more attention to? Where are we missing it sometimes, or what do we get right? What you talk about the support system and things of that nature. We're just talking about that, but um, what do us dads need to know?
Yeah, sometimes we don't have it all together. Even though it might look like we do,
Mhm.
even though because I feel as women, especially Black women, we're really good at taking on a lot. And we're struggling on the inside,
Mhm.
but we won't let anybody know because we feel like we're not supposed to.
Mm.
And so we have to learn that it's, like, you're my support. It's okay for me to lean on you.
Mhm.
And so I think that's something that dads need to know, or, fathers need to know, that we don't have it all together. We might look like we do, and we might give that appearance because we're taking care of the kids and we're taking care of the house, and we're working and we're doing this, that, and the other, and we're doing multiple things at one time. um but you never know what can really be going on the inside. And so, to understand, to have that check-in, you doing all right, you okay, do you need anything? What can I do to make your day just a little bit easier today? Um, so that we can feel like we can get that support that we need. I think that's a huge thing.
Okay. Well, you heard that, fathers. You heard that, dads. Check in with the mothers, the mother of your babies. Y'all made them babies together. Check on her. Make sure that she's right. And that's so very true. And I can be transparent and honest, because sometimes I'll come into the house and I just figure, she got the house running, the kids, they're doing their thing, and you know, or if there's a question, go ask your mama. Mama's helping with the homework, mama's helping with, mama's doing, and part of us sometimes as men, we are almost conditioned to believe that that's your job.
Mm-hmm.
you know don't ask me to help you with your homework. Ask your mama to help you with your homework.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you have a something that needs to be signed for school, have your mama sign it. And so you have to understand that, and we have to understand that we have to partner with you all to help you do your job better. That's good. That's so very good. um I'm going to add something. I'm going to be as the man talking to moms, um, in a place where I think I can add some value, um, and I might hurt some feelings.
Oh.
I might hurt some feelings. I might tick you off. And WBTC, I'm sorry if you will lose ratings because of what I'm about to
Oh
say.
boy, here we go.
Especially on this Mother's Day weekend coming up. You're going to see at Walgreens, at Hallmark, at these different places, CVS, where you can buy cards for Mother's Day. And I guarantee you there will be some cards for Mother's Day that says you are a great mother and father. Mothers, and I'm look right into the camera. Mothers, you can be the most phenomenal mother that you could possibly be.
Mm-hmm.
You could be a mother superhero with a cape and superpowers and all of that stuff. The greatest mother that has ever graced God's earth.
Amen.
But what you cannot do is be a father.
Mm-hmm.
You are the greatest mother. And one of the things that I will stress to mothers,
Mm-hmm.
that you can be a great mother, but you
Mm-hmm.
cannot be mother and father.
Mm-hmm.
And don't try to be father, be mother.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and that's especially for our single mothers that have to carry a lot of the weight.
Mm-hmm.
But and I'm being facetious, but I'm serious.
Mm-hmm.
We have to allow um, people in our lives, if we're single women, men in our lives, or find men in our churches or other organizations
Mm-hmm.
to help mentor young men to teach them how to be a man.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Um, you can teach um, your daughters how to be girls,
Mm-hmm.
but you cannot teach your sons how to be men. You
Mm-hmm.
can teach your daughters how to be women. You can't teach your sons how to be men. You can teach your sons how to treat a woman,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't teach them how to be men.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, and I don't say that to, and for all of you women that have raised men, young men, my mom raised me. So this is not a shot because it can be done. But she never tried to, she couldn't, she knew she couldn't make me a man.
Mm-hmm.
And so she relied on other men in my life. My father was still in my life, a pastor and uncles and other men could step in and
Mm-hmm.
fill that role.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that some of the weight that we take on in our lives,
Mm-hmm.
well, women take on in their lives
Mm-hmm.
of trying to be mother and father,
Mm-hmm.
it does the child a disservice because they miss out on the best mother that they can possibly have. What do you think about that?
I agree with you 100%. I look at it a couple of different ways. I think when you find yourself in a situation where, okay, you're raising a child by yourself. Well, and I would say, regardless if it's a little boy or if it's a little girl, you're raising this child by yourself, and so you feel, okay, now I have to do two roles. I have to be the role of the mom, and now I have to be the role of the dad because the dad is not here. And so now I have to do that. And I think, from just growing up and living that time where two-parent home, that was the thing, to be in a two-parent home. So when it's just a one-parent home, single parent home, okay, now I got it. Now that mom, okay, I got to take on that additional job. I got to take on that additional role. Now I got to fill in. And so if I have a son, I'm doing the man stuff. I don't really know what to do, but I'm doing that because I got to try to fulfill that role. Now I just like you, I came from a single parent home. My mom raised me, by herself. And one thing that I knew early on, or realized, I think when I was in junior high school, is that while my mom was phenomenal, she was great. She worked hard. She busted her behind. She took care of us. She raised four of us by herself. And she did that. She did that. But I realized when I was, I think, in junior high school, how much I missed the presence of just having my father around. And it wasn't until, I'll never forget, being in junior high school, and my best friend at the time, her dad was always picking her up and dropping her off at school. And I was just like, wow, that is so cool. I wish I had that. you know. And the more I hung around them, and that was just like my first interaction of a father and what that looked like. And so I wanted that, I desired that. And but realizing that those things that he was given to her, I couldn't get that from my mom.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's the big key in it all is that there are things, and it's things that the mother can do is the because there's some women, there are a lot of women out there that know sports better than men. There are a lot of women out there that know quote unquote man things better than men. So it's not about, there are a lot of women that have fun taking their kids, to the baseball games, to the football, get the football moms, got the basketball moms. And so it's not in that, but it's in the thing that that innately that child needs from the father. So I don't want to have individuals hear me wrong and say, well, moms are only good for girly stuff, but they need a dad to take them to the football game or to play catch with them. I know some women that can throw a ball better than men.
Right.
And so and some, so it's not in that, but it's in the identity that comes from the man that they need. And so you answer the questions about what am I, who am I?
You get that from dad,
and you get that from that or the male influence. So it doesn't have to be the dad, because let's be truth be told, some of the dads ain't worth nothing. Y'all chose some bad dads. They ain't nothing. So can't use him. There's other men that have to, to step into that place.
And that's so important, because even though my dad wasn't in my life in my younger years, but I had my grandfather. And so, and I, people now have talked about him all the time. I love my granddaddy, and wherever he was, I was. He was a deacon in his church, and that's where, I learned firsthand about serving others. Because he was a servant. And I would just be in awe of my granddaddy. He was at church from before it opened, and then he was there long after it closed. And he was always doing something, always serving. And so my granddaddy, he was like that father figure. He looked out for me, he took care of me, he was everything. So you realize that there's some things like mamas, we can't do everything. And I think that's something that, to be able to realize and sit with. And even as that's something that I've come to a realization to, just being a parent and realizing, okay, there's a certain place where I get off and you begin when it comes to just parenting our children. There are certain things that I can't give Jasmine that you can give her. When talking to her about, boys or dating and things like that, or just life in general, there are certain things that she has to get from you that she's not going to get from me. And it's the same thing with our boys, and so that's something that I realize that as moms, because moms, we want to give our kids everything, and we want to be the ones to give them everything, but you can't, and that's okay. And not even just dad, the kids get stuff from grandma, from auntie, from uncle, that tribe, So again, as moms, we don't have to feel like we have to take everything on our shoulders and carry it. And I'll never forget one day and this is when I was in school, and I mean, it was just one of those days where, oh my God, okay, I gotta cook, and then I got homework and the paper due, and then I got do laundry, and I gotta do this, and oh my God, what is hubby gonna eat? All this other stuff. And it just, this light came on and said, hold on. Who told you that you had to do all of this stuff?
Mhm.
Who said that? Where did that come from? Take a moment, wait a minute, like, you can't do everything.
Yeah.
And so that's where, as mamas, we get burnt out, we get tired,
Mhm.
we get irritable,
Mhm.
we get frustrated, because we feel like people should know what we dealing with in the pressure that we put on ourselves, right? We feel like everybody should know the pressure that we put on ourselves, but they don't. But this is self-inflicted stuff. So this is stuff that we are telling ourselves that we just got to be on every single day. We got to do this, we got to do that. No, mamas, you don't have to.
Right.
You don't have to.
It's something that um, I believe too. I'm gonna step in again from the outside,
Mm-hmm.
and from my perspective of something that I think mothers need to be aware of.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that mothers need to be aware of becoming codependent on their children. That your children become your end all be all.
Mm-hmm.
That your life revolves around your child.
Mm-hmm.
That and we see that it comes and it happens in this way, especially with a lot of single mothers. Um, and I see it on the other side when a mother will tell, can't nobody say nothing to my child but me.
Mm.
Don't discipline my child. Don't say anything to my child. And because that child is the center of their world.
Mm-hmm.
And when something is the center of your world,
Mm-hmm.
they do no wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it creates problems. Yes, people abuse, people are, everybody doesn't have the best things, in mind, when it comes with your children or whatnot. But we grew up in a day where everybody in the neighborhood, if you acted out,
oh, they was gonna get you.
You was gonna get it from everybody.
Right.
But because there is that, I'm gonna take care of everything, and that I don't lean on my community. I don't lean on that. So that is what that's what we've created. And so we've created children, boys and girls, that don't listen to nobody but their mama now. Because mama already said, can't nobody say that to my child with me. And then they get to the point, then they don't even listen to mama.
Yeah, and that starts young. That's something that they start young. And then as they get older, it just gets worse. And again, the hard part for that mom is going to be when that kid leaves.
Yeah.
What that mom is, she going to have a hard time. She's going to have a hard time. And that's just something that I've learned. You have to have some healthy boundaries. Yeah. You have to, and you have to continue to allow yourself as a mom to develop your own passions and your own goals. Just because you become a mom, it doesn't mean that your life just ends. And I remember hearing that. I'll never forget. I think I was pregnant with the twins, with the boys. And I was talking about going to school. And I'll never forget, a woman had said to me, why are you going to school? You have kids. How can you go to school and you have kids? Like, your first responsibility is to your kids. How are, that doesn't make sense. And so I remember I remember these conversations, and I said, well, no, I said, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Right. And the great thing is that you know, while I was in school, of course, my kids, they watched me. They watched me sit at the dinner table with them. We would eat, and then we would do homework together. And we did school together. They would come up to the campus. Now, mind you, I think at that time, when we were at North Park, I think the boys were 7.
They were, they're about that, because
Yeah,
yeah.
so about 7 years old, and so they're walking around on a college campus. You know, this is what they see. It's not anything abnormal to them, you know, seeing their parents in school, because you were in school as well. You know, so to see us in school, to see us you know, studying and doing homework, it wasn't anything abnormal. And the great thing is my kids didn't miss out on anything. They had everything that they need. So they didn't miss out. But this was just a way of life for them. So now, as they're young adults, being in school, going to college, that's not
it's expectation.
It's
That's all they know.
This is what they know. You know, it was great for them. And I was able to share my challenges with them, and to be able to see that, again, it's okay. You don't have to be perfect, but we're learning and we're growing together. And that was a great thing.
That's a good question by Ron. Do you think the latchkey kids seem to resent taking on responsibility so young?
That's a good question.
We came from the from the time of being latchkey kids. You know, we let ourselves in while mom was at work, and we took care of ourselves and whatnot.
I don't think I do.
I don't resent it.
No.
I think it made us more responsible.
Yeah.
I think the opposite is kind of the problem now, is because our parents, parents these days do so much for their children, never want to leave them by themselves, never want
and
to,
they don't know how to do anything.
And now children these days don't know how to do anything. And they're not, you know, they've never been given responsibility. I think that I think just the opposite. And I think society wise, and I have to look through this through my sociological lens, but as we have become more middle class, as I'm speaking specifically about African Americans, and more socially and economically mobile, upwardly mobile, that we take pride in our children not having to deal with some of the struggles that we have to, which was something that was going to say earlier, and it leads right into it, is that another thing that dads do it a little bit, but I see moms doing this a whole lot, but moms living vicariously through their children and doing things. I might get in trouble again, but spending lavishly on proms, lavishly on things of that nature, because they never had it, or not having. Well, you're right. The latchkey kids, they do well. I think it's the generation after the latchkey kids, because we were latchkeys. Because so
well, you know, but I think, and he kind of has it's something to think about, and a good point, because I will say, you know, I was the oldest in my family,
and so was I.
Yeah, and so responsibility, definitely. You know, you keep the house clean, you cook for the other kids, you know, you have all this done, and it was done by the time mama came home, no questions asked, because we knew mama didn't play that. So we had that stuff done, house spick and span. You know, we picked up kids from daycare. I mean, we, you know, those are things that we did. And so no, I could not hang out, you know, after school and do the after school activities and things like that. So I think about that.
There is some truth to it.
So I think so. Yeah,
because they are lax, a little bit more lax with
yes,
their kids because
yes, and I think about that now in terms of like my kids, right? I'm definitely not as tough or strict on, especially like the little two, as mom was on me. Like the girls, they are in a ton of after school activities almost every day and do all different kind of things. And it's kind of like, oh, okay, I want them to have those experiences. And true, I think because these were some experiences that I didn't have, and so I agree that, I don't resent it, but at the same time, I feel like, trying to achieve a balance in there, because you realize that some of that stuff was good.
But yeah,
it is. It's like trying to, and I think that is something that I've always been trying to do is achieve a balance in there, because again, I realized that a lot of the tools that mommy gave me, even though I was at times I felt like, man, this is hard and I'm missing out on things, but I was able to do a whole lot more than some of my friends were. I was way more responsible than a lot of my friends were. Like I've been working and had a real job since I was 13. So, when it came to giving my own place and taking care of, I was doing that a lot younger than a lot of my friends, because this is how my mom, trained me. So I'm thankful for that. But at the same time, I always feel like what my kids, like I want them to be kids too, and enjoy that and have that time and experience that, because I tell them, hey, when that time is over, it's over.
and that is why, and to kind of go back, that's why moms can't be moms and dads.
Right.
Moms, you be mom.
Right.
And you get that balance. And so, but I really believe that that's something that and I don't know if it could be about being latchkey, but what I also see is just economically, or if and I will see it all the time that people will go broke doing things because
ridiculous.
they never had it, and I see, and I tell mama, you mama, you can't do that. You don't, but I want my baby to have the best. Well, you can't afford the best right now.
Right.
And that's something that I think that moms today would do better as learning how to sacrifice. Mamas in our days used to sacrifice.
Oh yeah. Yes, they did.
And,
I know my mama did.
Yeah. So we used to be we
that's
become responsible adult to relax as a parent. Yep. That's what it is. That's great. That's a great
that
response.
is and we've seen that where people, like, they try to be a friend. And now one thing that we've been very clear on with our kids is that we ain't your friend. Now we love you, but we mama first. And so again, but this is why I say you got so much on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. I mean, all these different tutorials on how to parent, and oh, you need to be their best friend and all of that. I tell you, there's so much stuff out there that people just make up. It's not good.
I got friends.
Right.
And the ones that I gave birth to ain't them.
Right.
So, but yeah, I am I'm so grateful for you as the mother of my babies. I could not have chosen better. I don't think I even chose. God chose for me. That's how I couldn't have chosen better, because God chose.
Because he knew better for you.
Yeah, he knew exactly what I needed. And I want to say I love you. I honor you. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
I'm gonna miss you because she and my mama going on a cruise for Mother's Day. So that's, I'm going. Yeah, I just don't. Yeah. So so because of that, we're not going to be in on next week. We'll have a pre-recorded show next week. But if you want to see us again, because we're going to put a pin in it right here.
Yep.
All right. If you want to see us again before we come live, you can always meet us at Grace Missionary Baptist Church at 16650 Crawford Avenue in Markham, Illinois. We start service at 10:30 a.m. sharp. We're in and we're out. We are Grace Missionary Baptist Church, the Grace Station, where we are transforming lives
and building the
kingdom. And if you're not coming at any other time, come this month, because this month, in the month of May, I am preaching a series called The Spirit-Filled Family. The Spirit-Filled Family. And so we started on this past Sunday. It was phenomenal. I got something special for Mother's Day. Bring your mama, even though my mama and my wife ain't gonna be there. Bring your mama to church on Sunday. And for the rest of this month, if you want to hear about some great words about the family. So until then, I am Edward Jones IV. This is
Lady Jones, Latanya Jones.
And this is the Phamily Phirst podcast. See you again soon.
Go to your Apple or Google Play Store and download the WVTC Gospel Radio app today. You can also say, Alexa, play WVTC Radio Skills.
Would you like to play WVTC Radio Network?
Absolutely. Download it today.
Views made on the preceding program are not those of WVTC Radio, iNetworks Communications, or their financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ, WVTC, Allsip Chicago, and iNetworks Communications Station.